I have gathered some of the worst fitness advice that you will find on the internet. Is that for real? Is this for real? And then again, maybe some of it isn't so bad. Let's find out. This is the first video. Apparently this gentleman is going to show me and you how to do the perfect shoulder press. So here we go. Okay, what is happening? Is that for real? Is this for real? Oh my gosh. I mean, look, I feel bad for this gentleman because I know his intentions are that he wants to try to help you. But if you apply what he tells you, you're gonna get hurt. I can't even tell you how. Shoulders are gonna get hurt, back's gonna get hurt. He's got a weight belt on for Hercules here. He's working out in tights and work boots. It's something. And he's got his elbows all wrapped up, and yeah, I can't imagine what this guy's gonna look like a few years from now, probably in a wheelchair. But let's just keep watching for fun, shall we? Let's see here. Oh yeah. And then on the ground. Here's the problem with the internet. There's too many people out there that are showing you stuff that's going to get you hurt. Now, on every level here, he's bouncing, he's hopping, he's on his toes, and he's standing up, so he's got no support whatsoever. The support that he has is this gigantic weight belt that may be helping him do this incredibly inappropriate shoulder press exercise. He's got a weight that's too heavy. He's bouncing around. His range of motion is horrible. His range of motion is about 8-9 inches. He's going low enough, but you want full extension. You want your arms up. You want to be, I mean, for me, 9 times out of 10, you want to be supported, which means you're seated. You're seated in an inclined bench. And the bench can be straight up or slightly back, whatever. The goal here is to work on the anterior delts, right? Here he's doing the front side. Of course, you know, I'm not a fan of the presses behind the head. There's 37 categories here on how to do this right. Straight arms, good support, maybe not the spandex pants and the work boots. I mean, from his toes to the top of his head. I hope he doesn't stalk me after he hears that I'm not a fan of anything here. I don't know what else to say. It's on every level about the worst thing you can be doing when it comes to working your shoulders. All right, next video.
The less protein you eat, the more muscle you will build.
The less protein you eat, the more muscle you build. Now, out of the box, I gotta say, who does that apply to? I mean, that applies to I would assume, a smaller segment of society. I mean, look, there are athletes in this world. There are speed skaters and football players and lacrosse players and bodybuilders where what he's saying does not apply. The mistake that I think he's making is that it's too general a statement for the general public. So let's say anybody and everybody's watching this video and they think this guy's got a lot of great advice and they see that, then they're gonna go, oh, okay, well, I'm a professional athlete. I don't need all this protein. Well, I'm gonna assume that most conditioning coaches for Olympic athletes, collegiate athletes, professional athletes, for bodybuilders would right out of the box disagree with that. No, but let's see what else he has to say, this boy.
Research shows if you take your goal body weight and you multiply that by 0.7, that's how many grams of protein per day you need.
Okay, so I kind of like where this guy's going. You know what I mean? He's saying that not every single person, whether you're a bodybuilder or you're a mother of 3 who's in her 50s, needs to be consuming the same grams of protein per pound that person weighs, regardless of who they are, male, female, young and old, whatever. All right? So let's see what else we got from this man.
And the reason that more protein isn't gonna lead to more muscle is instead of eating more protein, you should do everybody's 3 favorite words. Eat more carbs. Because carbs are your muscle's main source of energy.
Okay, so carbs. Let's talk about carbs and building muscle. Like a birthday cake, that's carbs. Twinkies, that's carbs. Pancakes and waffles are carbs. Candy bars are carbs. So he's putting carbs in one big giant category. Well, if you're talking about health and fitness, which is kind of my category, then he's not saying enough about the type of carbs, the quality of carbs, complex carbs. We all got to know the difference between simple carbs, which is just garbage, which is going to turn to fat anyway. It's going to help you maybe a little bit for building muscle and getting stronger, but not really. What you need are complex carbs. I'm talking like 9-grain Ezekiel organic bread or, any kind of complex carb like, let's say, a sweet potato. So there is a difference.
Since you've already hit your protein per day to build muscle, you're better off putting extra food to more carbs. And the keto nerds can suck on that one.
Apparently he's got something against the keto people. I don't have anything against the keto people. I have nothing against the vegetarian people, the vegan people, the pescatarian people, anybody and everybody's different, all right? So the one thing that you need to know is, even though he's attempting here to give you some pretty good advice, and the thing that I like about what he's saying is you don't need to be taking in 190 grams of protein if you weigh 190 pounds. Check that box pretty good. But the carb thing, the kind of carbs, what's lacking here, I think, is the specificity that is required for you to understand that the quality of carbs is key. So if I had to rate this from 1 to 10, I'd give the boy a 7.5 for generally good advice, but not enough specificity when it comes to what each individual needs to consume that has to be healthy. Let's move on.
Stop wasting time on a chest press machine, it's holding you back.
Anybody who knows anything about exercise and fitness will tell you, you look at P90X and all the programs I'm doing, the Power of 4, variety. So a chest press in conjunction with dumbbells is great. You're working your chest 2 different ways. And so you're adding more variety and building muscles that you're trying to build. And here's the great thing about a chest press, because it is sort of, because it's locked in there, you can turn up the volume a little bit. You don't have to get the weights in place, and then when you're completely exhausted after 8 to 10, 12 reps, put them back, right? So you just get to drive that thing and feel that burn, and machines are awesome. So choosing just one over the other is ridiculous.
Slow and controlled, squeeze at the top, feel the chest fully engage. Machines restrict the movement, free weights give you full activation and growth.
He's talking about how great dumbbells are, but you saw how to do it properly when you looked at my video doing it. And when I watch him, he's jerking them up, like he's jacking them up and he's letting them crash down. There needs to be sort of a controlled motion. And of course, different kinds of speeds, that's great. Lighter weight, higher speeds, heavier weight, less speed, you want to control it more. But the whole idea that using a chest press is a waste of time is absolutely stupid. Okay, now in this next video, we're going to hear from someone who's going to tell us that good form really isn't all that important. The important thing here is to push as hard as you can, get those reps up, get your weights up, and that's how you're going to get results.
You go to the gym, do calisthenics, or just work out in general, listen up, I'm about to say something that's going to be very controversial. Having good form is not as important as everybody makes it seem. Now, the consensus in the fitness world is that you should be chasing perfect form, and I'd argue that that's not necessarily the case. Now, when I first started going to the gym, I'm one of the people that bought into that, and even up until just recently, I was chasing perfect form. It wasn't until I switched my way of thinking that I really started making very, very fast gains in the gym. Going heavy and low reps and really struggling out every rep that you have in you is absolutely the way that I made my quick gain. I started going heavy and even as low as 4 reps.
So this young man, he's trying to tell us that uglier reps, heavier weight is better than good form, maybe with whatever weight is required to get the most out of an exercise. He doesn't have very many views, partly because he's giving us advice while walking on a treadmill when he's talking about lifting. I don't know how old the kid is, but his arms don't look anything like that. And by the way, there is something called cheat reps. And cheat reps are typically what you would do toward the end of a set. So you're doing pretty clean moves, whatever it is, flies, curls, tricep extensions at the beginning. And then toward the end, if you're a gym rat, if you're familiar on how to do it properly, if you're not vulnerable to injury like a lot of people are if they start doing cheat reps right out of the box, then you add 2 or 3 more at the end to get the most out of the muscle.
I would do 2 to 3 sets of that every time I came into the gym. Every time I came in, I was going up at least 1 rep. I did that till I got to about 10 to 12 reps per exercise, and then I pushed the weight up again to 4 to 6 reps. During that whole time, my thought process was not focused on perfect form. It was about getting more reps in on my set.
To some degree, getting more reps is good. But I like the idea of getting more reps with quality reps. So training to failure is a good thing, and maybe a couple of cheat reps toward the end is okay, but this is not great advice for the average person who's going to the gym for the first time, or maybe who's kind of new to fitness.
Now, I'm not saying that you don't need good form or you should just be having bad form or only exercise. What I'm saying is do not chase perfect form, chase strength gains.
Again, here's the problem with so many people on the internet. They're giving advice that applies to a small segment of society. There's a percentage of people that would get something out of this, but if you're a beginner or an intermediate, or you're not really familiar with the gym really very well, or you don't really know how to train, this is not good advice for you. You know what I mean? And so the reason why I'm remotely successful after selling, I don't know, 15, 20 million copies is because I gave people not one, not two, but 3 different options to do one exercise, because everybody's different and there has to be a beginning and a middle and an end when it comes to output and energy and quality and number of reps and what kind of weight and range of motion and all these different kind of things. It's just not nuanced enough. This is maybe advice for young kids that have been going to the gym for a while and haven't been getting great results. And even with his advice, I don't see very good results, so I don't need to comment any further on this. All right, next video. We got a young man who has a very unusual diet. Now, when it comes to diet, look, I'm not going to give you diet advice. There's different ways to do it. You can be vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian. I'm mostly vegan, but I eat pizza once in a while, and I had some elk when I was in Jackson. But let's find out what this guy wants us to do and see what he does. All right.
The first thing I ate was a couple bites of high liver. This seems so gross, but
it seems so gross because it is. It is raw, fermented liver. So it's rotten liver. It even says rotten. He thinks that eating rotten liver, I mean, maybe he's building up his immune system for the plague. I don't know what's happening, but that's crazy. He's 1 in a million, that's for sure. And if you want to be 2 in a million, rock on. But I suggest the big no.
Also, while I was in the sun, I had 4 raw eggs. Later on, I had some swordfish sashimi. This is my favorite fish. It's super nice, a little bit lemony. And then I had some grass-fed beef fat, which I just warmed up in a pan a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know who showed him how to do this, man. But boy, oh boy. Run, don't walk away from what that young man's doing. But he seems to be working for him, you know? I mean, I know people who eat metal, and they're doing okay. So, there you go. All right, next video.
So what's better for fat loss, heavy weight, low reps, or lighter weight, higher reps? So a study by Carlson and colleagues in 2022 finally gives us some answers. The goal of the study was to find out which is more effective during a calorie deficit, high reps or heavy weights. Participants either trained with heavy weights, around 80% of their 1RM, which is 1 rep max, for fewer than 10 reps per set, or use lighter weights, about 60% of the 1RM, for fewer than 20 reps per set. They also consumed 20% fewer calories than their estimate maintenance. The study found that both training methods led to similar small reductions in fat mass, with heavier weights showing a loss of...
You know, it's interesting, as I'm watching this, I guess the study shows that both are good, but I don't see anything in this study, and he's not mentioning anything about other exercises that a person would be doing. If this is a weightlifting, light rep, low rep situation, are they also doing HIIT training? Are they also running? Are they also, what's the quality of their food? What type of food? What's the recovery like? I mean, recovery is part of that equation as well. And by the way, you know, here's the crazy thing, that there's way too much advice on the internet that doesn't allow all categories of people to learn something about what they need to do to improve. All right, so I'm an ectomorph, right? Which means I'm naturally skinny and I have to work really hard to build muscle. And so I do heavy days, I do light days, I do both days. A lot of it has to do with my age. I am, you know what I am. These guys are smiling, I can see them back there. Right, so I have heavy days when I feel good and I've recovered properly, and I have light days when I feel like I'm a little vulnerable to injury. Boom. But what if you're a male? What if you're a female? What if you're in your 50s? What if you're in your 20s? What if you don't have access to weights and dumbbells, and you don't have a membership at a gym, and all you have is the floor, and you want to do body weight stuff? Again, more advice for a limited amount of people. I'm somebody who wants to try to help everybody. So I think this is in general pretty good. Also, there was a study here that proved some interesting things, which I'm sure the study, it was for real. And so, yeah, I don't have any reason to slam this completely. I just don't think there's enough information here for more people. That's all. Okay, next video. It's about box jumps, and I do box jumps. So let's see if I've been wasting my time. We're gonna find out.
So I have a hot take. Doing box jumps is overrated. But let me explain.
Okay. Not a fan of the box
So
jumps, is he?
just jumping and just landing on a box doesn't really improve your vertical.
Interesting. Now, here's what I want to say, because my whole, the reason why you look at me on YouTube is because I try to bring you the truth based on my own personal experiences. So I've been doing box jumps, for me personally, not to improve my vertical. I have had no intention to improve my vertical. I do box jumps because as a skier and as somebody who's trying to build muscle in my legs, because for vertical, that's not why. I mean, I should probably do something different. And he might even show me what that is coming up. But I do it because as a skier, I want to jump over things and I want to land on things. Like I don't just stay on the snow when I ski. I like to go off a little jump and land. And that's why I do the box jumps, so that I have the muscularity to be able to do that. And I'm assuming that if you want to improve your vertical, and I don't know, I see that he's on a basketball court here. I see the hoop. Then I would assume that maybe jumping up as high as you can on a wall or reaching for the net or higher on the rim or something is how you would improve that. Let's see where he's headed here. We'll find out right now.
Because you're mainly using your hip flexors.
Okay, using my hip flexors to go up. Yeah, exactly. You've already seen, look at the other videos on YouTube that I've shown you. My quads are pretty built, and it's partly because I like to leave the surface of the earth, either through lunges or squats or, laterally or whatever it is. And that allows me to be a better athlete, allows me to be a better skier. And there's a lot of other collegiate and professional and Olympic athletes that do box jumps all the time, but they're not box jumps all the time because they want to be better athletes, not necessarily because they want to dunk. So let's go on.
Which basically means you're not jumping this height. You're lifting your leg above this height.
This is actually pretty decent advice. He's allowing people to understand what box jumping actually does. And he is right? So if the box is that high, you're not going vertical that high, you're just jumping that high to get on top of the box. So to some degree, this has value. I would say, yeah, you definitely want to do something if you want to get higher, right, toward a rim or something like that. But if you want to be athletic when you do things, soccer, hockey, football, probably not baseball, basketball, and skiing, I still think box jumps are pretty good for those things, but not for your vert. Thank you very much, sir. Next video, here we go.
Should you train to failure? Well, the latest, highest quality study, inexperienced subjects, actually found no difference between taking a set all the way to failure versus stopping 1 to 2 reps shy. But the problem is, if you never take any sets to failure, how are you supposed to know what 1 to 2 reps in the tank feels like? So that's why on pretty much every exercise, I just take the last set all the way to failure.
All right, I know this gentleman, Jeff Nippert. He's pretty good at what he does. Obviously, 6 million views on this video, so a lot of people are paying attention. And I think in general, for a finite group of people, this is really great advice, because the idea here is, going to your max, pushing the edge of the envelope. That's going to give you gains that you wouldn't get if you didn't do it. Now, again, and there's a lot of people my age and older and around in their 50s and stuff where this can be dangerous. So you need some time under tension in your life over the course of years. Being an athlete helps, being a gym rat helps, being a bodybuilder helps. Somebody, male or female, who's been at this for a while, who is not seeing the gains that they want to see, this advice is awesome for them. But again, it's a finite group of people. But this is not for everybody. So when you're watching this, or somebody like him, it's like, oh, okay, I want to go to failure. Some days, yes. Some exercises, yes. Some days, no. Some exercises, no. Okay, so be careful. This is great advice, but it's not for everybody. All right, next video.
The most powerful but dangerous approach to building muscle, reverse pyramid training, going straight into your heaviest.
Yeah, 4 seconds in, that's good advice. Anybody who walks into the gym and doesn't warm up and starts lifting super heavy, if you want to get hurt, if that's your goal, that's what's going to happen. Good advice. All right, next video. We're talking supplements here. Let's see what happens.
King, here are 3 supplements I take to naturally boost my testosterone. Magnesium, 500 milligrams daily.
I do that.
Zinc, 25 to 50 milligrams daily.
I also do
Vitamin
that.
D, 4,000 IUs daily. But if you're in the sun a lot, 1,000 should do.
Ha! Well, there you go. 3 supplements that I also take. And does it boost testosterone? I am not a doctor. I'm not a professional in that regard. I am not a nutritionist. I am not an endocrinologist. But I'm a guy who owns these, and I don't do anything other than take supplements and train like it's the last day on earth. And my testosterone, when I test it every 6 months, averages between 800 and 1100. Why? Because I live at the edge of the envelope and I train super hard, but I do it safely and I do it with good form, and I take those supplements just like that young man, and things seem to be working out A-okay. Next up, ab stuff. Everybody wants abs. Let's see what this gentleman has to say about that.
If you want to grow your abs faster, stop doing ab exercises.
Okay, right out of the box, stop doing ab exercise. Crunches are good, bicycles are good, side try rises are good. Any kind of exercise you're doing on the floor that activates your transverse abdominis and your intercostal muscles and your abs in general from top to bottom, don't stop doing them. Keep doing them, but do other things. Let's see what else he has to say about other things. Here we go.
Exercises using only your body weight. Instead, add weights to all your ab exercises.
Oh, okay, so he's saying add weights, like med balls and dumbbells and raising your legs while hanging. You know, look, he doesn't mention diet, he doesn't mention what body types, all right? So let's say you're a skinny person like I am, right? And you don't have a lot of body fat to begin with, then it's gonna be easier because they're right underneath the surface anyway and they're ready to go. But if you've got 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 pounds to lose, then this advice doesn't apply to you, all right? What you gotta do is you gotta eat really clean, you gotta be doing some HIIT training, you gotta be doing some plyo, you gotta be doing some cardio, and you gotta be lifting some weights 2-3 times a week so that you can get rid of those layers that help you expose your abs. And once your abs are finally exposed, or you can begin to see them, then this is semi-good advice because adding weight is great, but also good old-fashioned crunches. Like if you do 100 crunches and you're gonna try to tell me that doesn't work, of course it helps. But spot training, hello, wait, time out. Hello, spot training alone is not the way to do it, man. Twisting and turning and punching and kicking and movement that makes you go left and right and up and down and forward, that's also part of the equation. So this is, on a scale of 1 to 10, this advice is a 3.5. So you want to see your abs, right? So a lot of it has to do with your body fat percentage. And there are different categories. You got obese, you got overweight, you got standard, you have fit, and you have athletic, generally, all right? You need to be out of the standard range and into the fit and or athletic. If you're in the athletic range, you could probably see your abs already, right? So if you're obese and you're overweight and you're in standard, well, in the standard range, that middle range, is it drops down like for men, 18%, 18 to 15 is standard. At least that's part of the standard piece of the equation. And for women, it's lower 20s, mid 20s, right? So once you get down into those lower ranges, then you don't have all that extra gunk. Then you can begin to focus on your abs by doing not only body weight exercises, but also ones with extra weight. And then you can begin to work on it. Oh, and your diet matters, and your recovery matters, and how hard you lift weights matters too. All right, next.
How does grounding work? Well, the answer lies in the Earth's electrical charge.
The Earth's electrical charge. And then your feet are on the Earth. Okay, let's see what else we got here.
Earth's surface is rich in free electrons and acts as an antioxidant.
Free electrons acts as antioxidants. Okay, look, I have no idea if any of this is true. And it's interesting. Because I will say this, I have a lot of friends that were out in nature, they love to go hiking in their bare feet. And they're walking in the dirt and in the mud, and it kind of feels like they are connecting. In their mind, they feel like they're connecting to the earth. Are there antioxidants and electrons and things that are happening that are improving their health while they're walking around in the dirt and the soil and the sand and in the mud and the grass? Maybe. I know personally, and this is just from my experience, you can do this or not, I love walking around in my bare feet, not on cement or on the street or something, but out in the grass. It just feels really good. I feel connected. I enjoy that. I exercise in my bare feet in the grass.
Neutralizing free radicals in the body, reducing inflammation, and restoring equilibrium. So when your skin makes direct contact with the earth, electrons flow freely, counteracting any harmful electric charges?
I have no idea. Honestly, I have no idea. And there's a huge segment of society of people who just believe this is true, and maybe it is. And I'm pretty fit and pretty strong and pretty healthy, and the digestive tract is working, and I have no digestive issues, and my joints are really good. And a lot of that has to do with what I put in my mouth. So what you put in your mouth is either going to cause problems or it's going to alleviate them. And that is fact for no matter who you are. I don't care if you're overweight, if you're not, if you're young, you're old, you're male or female. The quality of your life, a lot of it has to do more with what you eat and what you drink as opposed to the surface that you walk on in your bare feet. That's just me. Next video, I'm looking at the thumbnail and I see 4 foods to avoid. Ooh, I know what foods I avoid. Shall we see what this gentleman has to say?
Let me tell you the 4 things you should never bring into your house. I don't care if you go out once in a while and treat yourself, but the 4 things that should never enter the front door of your house. Number 1, processed meats.
Bingo! Me neither. Don't have in my house. Never would, because it's just cancer poison. So enjoy your bologna and your salami and your pepperoni, okay? Because I don't. Next.
We know that they are associated with cancer. Number 2, sugar-sweetened beverages.
Hello, no Coke, no Mountain Dew, none of that poison in my house, that carbonated sugar death. I wonder what he says about those and what they do. Hello, I think I already know the answer, and you should too.
Like fruit juices and Coca-Colas and Mountain Dews. It's number 1 source of refined sugar in the American diet. 3rd thing you should never have.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have those. What is next? 3rd thing. Let's see.
Salty snacks.
Salty snacks. Oh, salty snacks. Now let me tell you something. My body fat was a little on the high side and I didn't like it. So I was in the fit department. I wanted to be in the athletic department and I cut out cookies, crackers, chips, and popcorn, which was the hardest one. But all the cookies had the sugar, but the other 3 had the salt. Let's see what he says about that.
We know that they're most associated with obesity.
Most associated with obesity. I wasn't obese, but I had more body fat than I wanted, both subcutaneous and visceral. Visceral is the stuff around your organs that will kill you. So if you want more obesity, then eat the crackers and eat the chips and eat all that stuff. I cut it out and I went from 15.1% body fat down to 9.11. Yeah. All right, what's the 4th one? Let's find out.
And the final thing is packaged sweets, also highly associated with obesity.
Yeah, candy in general. I mean, when I was a kid, I loved it. Charleston Chews, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, Kit Kats, Snickers bars, Milky Way, Bob Bang, Bang, Bang. And I was a miserable, sad C- student. And I had a little ring around my belly and I was ugly and I hated it. And then I made massive changes. So these 4 things, this guy spot on. There's probably 2 or 3 others that I don't like in the house either. But I like this video. I have nothing negative to say. This is great advice. And if you did this, things would change very, very quickly for you. And oh, by the way, it's hard. Anything worth having is hard. Easy stuff is the reason why you're in trouble in the first place. So cut out easy, start doing hard, and good douche!